today's topic was the Muslims and the British media, how the Muslims are represented on British media. So I think I have my writings as well for your reading, which I wrote on the Muslim representation on British print media. So what I found in my research was that in the print media, sometimes there are headlines, or sometimes it is a good reporting, but the headlines and the images distort the good reporting. So then again, there are different kind of media, but my research has been on print media. So there are media like print media, there are broadsheet media and the tabloids media. Broadsheets are like, you know, the newspapers that have bigger pages, like in Bangladesh, we have the Daily Star or the Ittifaq, the print, the hard copy. So it's that sort of design is the broadsheet media, and the tabloids are smaller, bigger than the magazine, but tabloids are usually very sensational. They have sensational news. And again, media, as we all know, it's commercial for purpose. It's commercial purpose, you know, if it is the news, if it sells well, that is profitable for the media. So the tabloids tend to have sensational news and sometimes stereotypical news of the minorities. And the broadsheet, again, there are different types of broadsheet. The conservative ones, the traditional conservatives one, would be may have some conventional reporting of or traditional or stereotypical reporting of the minorities. And in this case, we are talking about the Muslims in Britain. And the more balanced print media, I found the Guardian and the Independent. So they are the more balanced newspaper. But then again, in times of crisis, I found that all the media has a same voice, and that is, you know, they have a stereotypical voice. So the case study I had in my writings was the London bombing, which happened in 7th July 2006, where four Muslims, young Muslims of in Britain, so they blowed up or they conducted terrorist activities in the public transport, in the train and in a bus. So this incident, very horrendous incidents, and that killed 52 British in that terrorist incident. 52 people were killed, and among them was one Muslim girl. So what I found is that when the media had the news, or when it had the first anniversary of London bombing, the news, they had it in their print media. All the newspapers, conventional and non-conventional, even the more moderate newspapers, they had one tone. It was like, you know, it looked like they have leveled the Muslims as one group by their headlines and images and reporting, and their terror threat, although it's just the minorities who did this terrorist act. And in the worldwide, you know, in the Muslim population, it's a tiny minority. They have resorted to terrorism, and they are also giving a bad name to the mainstream Muslims who are peace-loving people. So in this context, what I found in the first and the second anniversary of London bombing, I went through the newspapers, different print newspapers in the hard copy, printed in Britain, and there were all the British newspapers. And then I found, you know, through the headlines and images and the reporting, how it was reported in the newspaper. And what I found was that this one Muslim girl who was also a victim of this terrorist act of 7/7 London bombing, but it's just that it's not mentioned. I mean, like the Muslims are also equally the victims of terrorism. So, so that is how I saw the, the conventional reporting, or the in times of crisis, how all the media, print media, can have a similar tone against the minorities. And as I have said, that the Muslims are also victims of terrorism, which is conducted by minority Muslims. And in this case, in the 7/7 London bombing, out of 52 people, one Muslim girl died. So that means Muslims are equally victims of terrorism. So in the media reporting, the rhetoric becomes us and them. Us means the majority British, and them means the Muslims, the minorities. They are a threat, and that was sort of reporting that normally comes out. And then again, there has been other political rhetoric before London bombing, and so which I have also discussed in my book, Young British Muslims. Um, it is in the library. It's the title of my book is Young British Muslims, and it was published in 2010, and so it is. The subtitle is Identity, Culture, Politics, and the Media. So the book's name is Young British Muslims, and the subtitle is Identity, Culture, Politics, and Media. So perhaps if you have some time, and if it is suitable for your research or any sort of writing, there are information on how they were on the British settlement, how young British Muslims, the Muslims who were born or who were raised in Britain, how they identified their belonging, sense of belonging. And so overall, it's a very positive outcome, which I found in my research. People are very settled in Britain. They are into sports, they are going to the schools, and they proudly identify themselves as British Muslims, or Bangladeshi Muslim, or Bangladeshi British Muslim, or say Egyptian Muslim. So they identify themselves variously, with a single identity, dual identity, or multiple identity. But overall, there's a positive tone in their settlement. But when it comes to the media, and sometimes when there are some political rhetoric, so which targets the Muslims, or which is stereotypical of the Muslims, and then there is a bit of emotion in their interviews. But otherwise, they feel very connected to Britain. Overall, I hope the reading assignments that I have assigned you, and the lectures in the box will help you in your in your topic, in your assignments. If there are students from the media background, perhaps this lecture in the course will help you in due course in writing your assignments or understanding the subject matter. So that's all for today.